New normal big life.
AVACEN Medical's non-invasive devices are transforming pain management by boosting microcirculation through the palm of your hand, offering drug-free relief for conditions like arthritis, fibromyalgia, and migraines. Veterans and wellness enthusiasts alike praise its impact, with one user on X saying, "My arthritis pain dropped significantly after 2 weeks." AVACEN's approach is redefining holistic health, making it accessible at home or in clinics, and empowering people to reclaim their vitality. Using heat therapy and negative pressure, the AVACEN treatment method enhances blood flow, delivering oxygen and nutrients to tissues while reducing pain and inflammation. AVACEN co-founder Danielle Forsgren and I had a chat about this innovative pain management technique with bonus content for the veteran community. Hi, friends. Welcome to the New Normal Big Life podcast. We bring you natural news and stories about nature that we hope will inspire you to get outside and adventure, along with a step-by-step plan to help you practice what you've learned and create your own new normal and live the biggest life you can dream. I'm your host, Antoinette Lee, the Wellness Warrior. Today, I'm joined by an incredible and interesting guest, Danielle Forsgren, motivational speaker, author, facilitator, and co-founder of AVACEN Medical, where you can find pain relief from the palm of your hand, and Legally Diva, where Danielle handpicks the hottest trends and must-haves in health, beauty, and fashion just for you. We're talking about managing chronic pain through AVACEN Medical's microcirculation techniques. Imagine a world where chronic pain, whether from arthritis, lupus, fibromyalgia, or migraines, is managed without pills or invasive procedures, right from the comfort of your home. AVACEN's technology enhances blood flow, delivering oxygen and nutrients to tissues while reducing pain and inflammation. This revolutionary approach, known as the AVACEN treatment method, or ATM, is reshaping how we address chronic pain and wellness, offering a drug-free, non-invasive solution that's both safe and effective. Before we learn about AVACEN and how microcirculation works, it's important to understand the healthcare challenges these devices solve. Danielle, welcome to New Normal Big Life. What healthcare channel was the AVACEN treatment method designed to solve?
Wow. Okay. Loaded question right off the bat. Let's go. I can say that we are FDA cleared for aches, pain, strains, overall muscular relaxation, and widespread pain for arthritis. But we have found about 38 fields of uses of other chronic illnesses and other things. Because when you have great microcirculation, you have the holy grail for longevity. And we have a lot of side benefits when you use the AVACEN.
Can you tell me more about the side benefits, especially the longevity piece?
Yes. Well, so here's the sad news. We'll do that one first. Everyone over the age of 40, 80% of us have compromised microcirculation. Okay. So meaning you have 100,000 miles of capillaries head to toe, even in your brain. So wherever you have blood, the capillaries are the chain to keep the blood flowing head to toe. And that's why, like on your 40th birthday, you need reading glasses. I use these because of the computer. So these are blue light, but I have really great eyesight. Actually, my sister, who's been using the AVACEN for 14 years, she actually tracked her eyesight and she went from a 1.75 down to 20/20.
Oh.
Because inflammation is everywhere. So we are stopping the inflammation by using the AVACEN at least twice a day, morning and night. We say left at light, right at night, because the left helps open up the lymphatic drainage. So you want to use the left first, but I use it 4 times a day without fail because of the side benefits. And one of them, I can tell you, is that we bring more oxygen, nutrients, and collagen to the skin. And it takes about a week to notice, but if you do 2 hours a day, so I break it up into 30 minutes. So I'll do 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes after dinner, and like an hour when I'm binge watching my new Netflix.
So speaking of collagen, I noticed the glow in your face. Do you attribute that to AVACEN?
Absolutely. And good skincare. You know, you got to have I'm going to be 66 in 2 weeks. I don't feel it. And I have people stopping and asking me about my skin all the time. So I'm an ambassador for a skincare line. It's actually skin repair and a plant-based stem cell that I absolutely adore, Dr. Nathan Newman Stem. And I don't really give shout outs to a lot of product, but the ones that I love, I always like to collaborate with. And that's the thing about AVACEN is we love to collaborate with good partners who are the same tribe and who are doing the same things that we like to do, helping people.
Oh, that's beautiful. And I love hearing about new products. I'm actually going to look that up. Thank you.
I will send you a link. Don't worry.
Perfect. And I'll drop that in the show description. I love it. Before we dive into the heart of the matter, let's talk about the prevalence of chronic pain in the United States. Based on recent data, approximately 51 million US adults, 20% of the adult population experienced chronic pain in 2021. Chronic pain is defined as pain lasting 3 months or more, according to the National Health Interview Surveys, or NHIS, conducted by the CDC. Of these, about 17 million adults, or a little over 6%, suffer from high impact chronic pain, which significantly limits daily activities such as work or self-care. In 2023, the prevalence slightly increased, with 24% of adults reporting chronic pain, and more than 8%, around 21 million, experiencing high impact chronic pain. These figures highlight chronic pain as a major public health issue, surpassing conditions like diabetes, depression, and high blood pressure in incidence. Certain groups face higher rates of chronic pain, like women. We experience it at 26% of the population, of the female population, versus 22% for men. Seniors experience chronic pain at 36% if you're 65 and older, and 30% of people living in poverty, living in rural areas, or with public health insurance experience chronic pain. Back pain at 41% and hip, knee, or foot pain at 41% are the most common types, often linked to arthritis, nerve damage, or old injuries. Here's the prevalence globally. Globally, estimates suggest that at least 10% of the world's population, or approximately 780 million people, suffer from chronic pain. Some sources, including the US Pain Foundation, estimate this figure could be as high as 1.5 billion people worldwide. But here's what's interesting. More people are seeking natural ways to manage their pain. Let's explore why. First, we're going to talk about chronic pain in the veteran community, which is near and dear to my heart because I'm an 11-year Army veteran. U.S. veterans experience chronic pain at significantly higher rates than the general population, largely due to combat-related injuries, musculoskeletal issues, and associated with comorbidities. Comorbidities means the simultaneous presence of two or more diseases or medical conditions in a person. U.S. veterans serving in Operation Iraqi Freedom, OIF, Operation Enduring Freedom, OEF, and Operation New Dawn, OND, often carry equipment loads that weigh more than a medieval knight's armor. During OIF, OEF, and OND, U.S. soldiers, in particular infantrymen, carry heavy combat loads due to the demands of counterinsurgency operations, urban warfare, and prolonged patrols in harsh environments. According to a 2018 article from War History Online, the average combat load for a U.S. combat soldier in the mid-2000s often exceeded 88 pounds and could reach up to 120 pounds for extended missions. This load included body armor. The interceptor body armor, or IBA, used widely during OIF and OEF, weighed approximately 30 pounds with front, back, side plates, and additional neck and shoulder and groin pads. Later symptoms like improved outer tactical vest, or OITV, added a slightly heavier weight. During OIF, OEF, and OND, U.S. soldiers, in particular infantrymen, carry heavy combat loads due to the demands of counterinsurgency operations, urban warfare, and prolonged patrols in harsh environments. According to a 2018 article from War History Online, the average combat load for a U.S. combat soldier in the mid-2000s often exceeded 88 pounds and could reach up to 120 pounds for extended missions. This load included body armor. The interceptor body armor, or IBA, used widely during OIF and OEF, weighed approximately 30 pounds with front, back, side plates, and additional neck and shoulder and groin pads. Later systems like Improved Outer Tactical Vest, or OITV, added similar or slightly heavier weight. Weapons and ammunition, an M4 rifle was 7 to 8 pounds plus 6 to 7 magazines, about a pound each, added roughly 15 pounds. Additional gear like the load included the individual first aid kit, IFAK, which is 1 to 2 pounds, hydration systems like a Camelback up to 7 pounds when full, grenades, radios, batteries, night vision goggles, 2 pounds there, and other mission critical items like the fighting load carrier for extra ammo. Uniform and accessories all added weight. The Army combat uniform, combat boots, and other gear like rigorous belt, patrol cap added another 10 to 15 pounds. Then there's specialized equipment for specific roles such as turret gunners and additional protective gear like the Quad Guard 4, or mission-specific equipment like breaching tools and extra munitions could push loads towards 100 to 130 pounds for long patrols. A 2006 House Armed Services Committee hearing noted that the heavy weight of equipment, particularly on up-armored vehicles and body armor, increased risks like vehicle rollovers and physical strain, contributing to injuries. The prolonged carry of such loads, often in extreme heat and over uneven terrain, led to significant musculoskeletal issues, with 50% of combat wounds in OIF and OEF being musculoskeletal extremity injuries, many made worse by heavy loads. Let's look at the medieval knight's armor versus the modern warfighter. Medieval knights, particularly from the 14th to 16th centuries, wore full plate armor designed for combat, which was surprisingly lighter than modern military loads in many cases. Records and studies of surviving armor indicate full plate armor, a complete suit of late medieval plate armor for a knight in the 15th century, typically weighed 40 pounds to 55 pounds for high quality tailored suits used by mounted knights. This included the helmet, breastplate, cauldrons, gauntlets, and chainmail components. They also had additional gear. Knights carried weapons like the longsword, 2 to 4 pounds, and shield, 5 to 10 pounds, and sometimes a lance, which is 5 to 10 pounds, bringing the total combat load around 50 to 70 pounds for a fully equipped knight on foot. The average combat load for OIF, OEF, and OND soldiers was 88 to 100 pounds, significantly exceeds the typical weight of a medieval knight at 50 to 70 pounds. So why this matters for chronic pain? When we come back, we'll take a look at it.
World events are constantly teaching everyone some very painful lessons. Without warning, everything we take for granted can suddenly fail. And if you're not prepared in advance, you really don't have a chance. The fact is, the modern world runs on a just-in-time supply schedule. Even the biggest grocery stores can carry only enough food for a few days' worth of normal shopping. So when disaster strikes and chaos ensues at your local stores, the odds are simply against you. If you don't have emergency food and gear stockpiled in advance, you will probably suffer. My partner Ready Hour is here to help you ahead of time. Ready Hour has a long history of providing calorie-rich, reliable, and delicious nourishment for life's unexpected situations, and critical emergency gear too. They're part of a family of companies that have served millions of people like you for decades. My family and I use Ready Hour products for camping, mountaineering, and disaster preparedness for 5 years now. They're not just reliable, they're also your affordable option too. Long-term survival food shouldn't break the bank. That's why they have great sales and payment options for you. It's your bridge to safety and survival when things just aren't normal anymore. So make your next decision your smartest decision. Be ready for tomorrow, today. Trust Ready Hour. Ready to shop? Use my affiliate link in the show description.
So why this matters for chronic pain? The excessive weight of modern military equipment compared to the relatively lighter medieval knight's armor has significant health complications for veterans. The VA's musculoskeletal diagnosis cohort found that 5.2 million veterans had musculoskeletal diagnoses, many linked to heavy loads carried during OIF, OEF, and OND. The VA's focus on non-pharmacological treatments like the AVACEN treatment method aligns with veterans' needs for drug-free pain relief. AVACEN's microcirculation therapy, which enhances blood flow to reduce pain, has been integrated into VA programs with testimonies like a veteran saying, "The anxiety and muscle tension just melted away." This underscores the importance of innovations like AVACEN's non-invasive therapy, which offers a natural, effective solution for managing veterans' chronic pain without the risk of opioids. So why are more people seeking natural pain management? When we come back from this short break, we'll discuss it. Before we cover the next topic in this episode, I want to introduce you with what I like to call a micro story about an adventure that I have had. The adventure sports lifestyle and my deep connection to nature is essential for my good health. So here's the story. It was my second year targeting smallmouth bass, and I did pretty well on the first year, but on my second year, this year, I was off to a slow start. And rather than getting upset about not catching fish, because my guy Matt and I compete for biggest fish, first fish, and most species caught that day. So rather than sulk, I decided I would work on my kayak fishing skills, basic and advanced skills, like paddle control, rod control, and using the net. So I focused on these skills, casting one-handed, which is sometimes called the kayaker's cast, casting one-handed exactly where I wanted my bait to land, and I got really good at that. Then we went out on another trip and I landed the biggest fish of the day. I did that. I hope this inspires you to get outside and adventure alone or with those you love. Now back to the high prevalence of chronic pain to figure out why people are making the shift towards natural pain management. The high prevalence of chronic pain combined with the opioid crisis drives the shift towards natural pain management. The risk of addiction, 7 to 11% of chronic pain patients develop opioid abuse disorder, and they have limited long-term efficacy on opioids. Long-term, there's only a 30% pain reduction. This has fueled a mistrust in pharmacological solutions. I personally suffer from chronic pain after sustaining a traumatic brain injury and broken back during my 11 years of service in the Army. I have arthritis from my neck to my tailbone and in both knees. However, the only time that I take pain medication is when the pain is so severe that it feels unmanageable using natural remedies, and that rarely happens. Integrative therapies like acupuncture, yoga, meditation, and breath work, and physical therapy are also increasingly adopted, with 77% of chiropractic care recipients reporting that it has been a very effective treatment tool. Chronic pain affects 51 to 60 million Americans and 780 million to 1.5 billion people globally, with significant physical, mental, and economic tolls. Opioids dominate pain management in the US and much of the developed world due to their potency, but the risks, evidenced by 81,000 US deaths and 480,000 global deaths annually, have fueled a shift toward natural alternatives. Innovations like AVACEN's microcirculation therapy, alongside growing awareness of opioid limitations and holistic health trends, are empowering patients to seek safer, more sustainable pain relief options. So speaking of the veteran community, can a veteran go to their general practitioner and ask for a consult to the VA's physical therapy department and use
you got it. Yes. So about a year ago, we were given a GSA code, and we work through B&B Health Services, which is a disabled veteran owned for 18 years and also Native American. And the AVACEN was basically purchased and okayed and cleared in less than 7 days, which is unheard of because we engage the parasympathetic, which is rest, restore, relax, and fight or flight is the sympathetic. We engage the parasympathetic, and that's part of the overall muscular relaxation FDA clearance. They said, can you help our veterans? And so Tom Muehlbauer, who is our inventor and CEO, co-founder, and FYI, my husband of 35 years, there's that. We can't forget that. And so he was an Army vet. My dad was in the service. He was Navy Master Chief for 25 years. And then his dad, a Marine. We've always tried to support and give back to our veteran community. So if you are if you go to the VA hospital or C-box, you can go to your PT or your pain doc and ask them to look up the GSA code for AVACEN, and they hopefully can order it. Now they might just give, we might send you one for just a month or something. It depends on every VA, okay? So the challenge is, if you've been to one VA, you've been to one VA, because everything is run differently. So currently we are cleared and we have a GSA code, which I will send you. So you might want to pop that in there too, because we want to help our vets. And we're finding that the ones who are getting it through are having incredible results. They're sleeping better. Their pain's going away. They're getting off their pain meds, because that's the whole thing. And I really believe in my heart that we can stop these suicides that are happening.
I wholeheartedly agree with that.
Yeah. And the other thing that they're not talking about is the spouses who are also committing suicide because they don't want to be out without their soulmate. So it's a double hit. It's horrible. And we can help. And so I'm tenacious as heck, and I'm going to get it done. I don't know, I'm pulling every string I know. And, there's a lot of VAs out there and they want to help people, but they're completely exhausted. The doctors are exhausted. The nurses and the staff is exhausted. I'm hoping things are going to be streamlined.
Well, thank you and your family for your legacy of service to the country and all the veterans in your family, both yours and your husband's. I really appreciate that as a veteran and a person who comes from a legacy veteran family as well.
And thank you for your service and your family's service. People don't understand that when they're keeping us safe, everything else, their family, really takes a hit. And the cool thing about our device is a family device. I have 2.5-year-olds using our device, up to 102, because it's really simple. It's dry heat, a vacuum, and your body. So, we've had over 30 million treatments and not one adverse event reported, because we're that easy to use.
That's amazing, because there are what the pharmaceutical industry likes to call side effects, but they're basically the effects of the medication.
I cringe, right? So I'm eating dinner, I'm watching TV, and I'm seeing one of those ads, and then the 2 million things that can happen, including cancer and death. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? What's happening? And, here's the deal. 87% of people who are on meds don't want to be, and they're looking for another option. We are that option.
So tell us about AVACEN Medical's microcirculation solution to chronic pain. How does it work? How does it affect the body?
Right.
What can we expect when we use it?
Yeah, so mechanism of action. So it's pretty cool. It's very simple. Our new gold one. This is the GXL, very sexy. And it matches my Buddha Girl bracelets. I said, make me a color like that. It took 3 months to get this color. So this is our GXL, and it's launching August 11th. You put a mitt on and you put your hand in here, and it's reusable up to 100 times. So we don't want to make money on mitts. We just want you to use one, because your hand has oils in it. And so you put your hand in there, you press a button, and you decide what time you want, whether it's 10 minutes, which I do not suggest. You want to do at least 20, and then up to 60 minutes. So I did 40 minutes this morning. because we had a big party here last night and didn't get to bed late. And so I needed an extra couple of minutes to just chill. And so it's really simple. You just put your hand in, you have to take the jewelry off. So, and then you put your hand in here, and then you either sit on your phone and do meditation or breathing or watch TV. Or if you're like me, I'm just on TikTok, probably shopping. It's my new thing. And then you can watch a beautiful wave on the video, and you have the wave sound, but this one has an extra special frequency. It's the 528 frequency, which is the healing miracle frequency. So we're embedding that in this. So it weighs about 7 pounds. It can go on an airplane for free because we're an FDA-cleared device. So you don't pay for it in the overhead luggage. And it's really simple to use. My 2.5-year-old great granddaughter uses it. She just puts her mitt on and puts her hand in it and presses a button, and she uses it. It's crazy. The kids are so smart these days, and she actually happens to be an AVACEN baby. So mommy used it while she was in utero, and she came out with blonde hair like a Smurf. And all the nurses were coming in to see what this blonde baby with the Smurf hair looked like, because usually blonde babies are bald for the first 2 years of their life because their hair is so fair and light. So yeah, she's quite a little pistol. And so we put your hand on the dry heat pad. We enclose you in a vacuum. The vacuum is really important because that distends the arterial venous anastomosis, the AVAs that are in right here. And this is where we can run a lot of blood through the palm of the hand and the feet. So Tom chose the hands because the feet, with a lot of our clients, gravity isn't going to pull up. But when you infuse the heat, it's going to go up here to your heart. And your body is so smart. So in less than a minute, it's going to try to shut it down or vasoconstrict. But we keep your AVAs open because of the vacuum. It's the secret. Okay. So basically Tom does a body hack and puts a heat pump on your circulatory system, and it can't vasoconstrict and shut it down because of that vacuum. It pulls it open. So in about 10 minutes, we thin out the blood just barely. And then your hypothalamus kicks in and goes, oh, this feels great. This body hasn't felt like this since you were 20. So I'm going to gift you with more circulation, which means more oxygen and nutrients. And I'm going to circulate this head to toe, even through the blood-brain barrier, all the way down to your little toe. And it's that easy. So kind of think of us like acupuncture without the needles, which I go to acupuncture and I'd rather not have the needles, but you got the needles sometimes. So this is something I do before the chiropractor, the acupuncturist. I do it for everything. And so does my whole family. And so it's that simple. It's so simple. And that's why we've had no contraindications, because it's that simple.
Well, for our listeners, if you're a practitioner, if you're a veteran, if you're a non-veteran, and you want to learn how to offer this to your clients or for your home use, there will be links in the show description, so don't worry.
Awesome.
Can you just recap one more time some of the huge benefits that someone can expect from AVACEN?
Yeah. Okay, so back in the day when we were on lockdown and COVID was happening, we have an affiliate program because this is not a device that can be in a box and can sit on a shelf in a pharmacy or in a doctor's office or in Walmart. It has to be shown and experienced. So we actually call them an AVACEN experience. And so my affiliates were amazing. They were dropping them off on people's doorsteps when they found their neighbors had COVID, keeping everybody out of the hospital. We tried to get emergency clearance for that, but we were turned down because we couldn't produce 3 to 5 million a month.
Wow.
Yeah. You can read between those lines. Anyway, so I happened to get COVID after going to a wedding, and I came home. I tested negative twice. I had my taste and smell. I had 97% oxygen, but I was going down. By week 2, I was going to Jesus, and I was so sick I didn't care. And so finally, when I went to the ER, 4 hours later, they still couldn't find the COVID. But 2 months later, I'm losing my hair and freaking out. because one of the problems with COVID, because if you're so sick, your body shuts down everything that's non-essential. And I guess hair growth is non-essential. So it was like I had cancer. And so I'm like pulling out hair. So I use the AVACEN. I had 3 PRP treatments to stop the shedding. And then my hair grew back darker and curly. It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. So hair growth, nail growth, my nails grow 1/10 of an inch in 6 days instead of 30. Tom's hair grows like crazy. My manicurist and my stylist love me because I spend a lot of money with them, but that just means that I've got great microcirculation. So I'll take that all day long. I've seen a gentleman who had a headache, a migraine for 3 years. In 10 minutes of doing our device, completely gone. Completely gone.
Well, I don't know about our listeners, but I'm going to my VA care provider and requesting an AVACEN device because I broke my back. I suffer from migraine.
Oh, okay. So the story about how this happened is my older sister had 25 years of migraines. She had 20 to 25 a month, and they put her on so many meds, they basically turned her into a drug seeker. I mean, she had a morphine box implanted that went septic. Then they took that out. Oh, let's put some copper wires in her back. That went septic. She had morphine patches, lidocaine patches. I mean, she was a hot mess. And Tom was working with some scientists at Stanford, and they had a cooling device. But Tom, I call him Dr. Google. Now I call him Dr. Chat GPT because now that's what he's doing, okay? Everything Chat GPT. So it's just the way we're evolving, right? So he found a doctor who was using T3, T4 hormones, and they were injecting it in the carotid, which is really dangerous, to raise women's body core temperature to normothermia. And some of the patients were not having migraines anymore. So his brain goes, aha, I want to make one that warms. So Stanford didn't want to do that. So he's like, sign this. And he went on his own. So we took it to my sister 17 and a half years ago. She was on day 3 of a migraine, and I'd never seen her when she was in a migraine because you couldn't talk to her, you couldn't see her. She was not eating, she was not sleeping. You know how it is. You're laid out. So she looked like death. She looked like the Walking Dead. She was total ashen gray. She comes out on crutches because she was an amputee. And so she had a lot of stuff going on. We sit her down. We felt confident because her husband was a cancer specialist. So we're like, God forbid, if anything happens, he's there. And so in about less than 10 minutes, she went from ashen gray to pink. She just pinked up. So we're like, oh, how do you feel? And she goes, well, I still have a little bit of a migraine, but I'm hungry and I don't think I'm going to have to take my meds. And we're like, whoa, what just happened? A miracle, right? So, and I don't say that M word much, but it was kind of a miracle for our family. And my brother-in-law gets out of his checkbook and goes, how much? And we're like, oh, no, you can't have this. This is a prototype from Stanford. You can't have this. And he's like, you just tell them that it was taken out of your car because this machine is not leaving this house. Because he was trying to do everything for her. And because of his mentality of being a physician and Western medicine, he wouldn't allow anything. But because this was Stanford science, guess what? It came in the house. So we're thinking we're going to cure the world of migraines. And then our attorney said, well, Tom, have you met the FDA? And we're like, what's that? Because we were so green. We were just out to cure the world, right? So yes, it has been a 17-and-a-half-year-old journey for us. And you know what? We're happy to do it because we're seeing amazing things happen every day. Every day.
Well,
I can feel the volume.
As a migraine sufferer who's had so many rounds of what they call a drug cocktail, 8-hour IV drug therapy.
I just got chills.
And to have it only come back the next day.
So there's a
God.
different protocol for you. So if you don't have a migraine, you do 20 minutes morning and night. But if you do, like I woke up this morning with a bit of a tension thingy happening about 6:30 in the morning because when the barometric pressure changes, that's when I get something. So I take an Excedrin migraine pill and I do the AVACEN for 10 to 15 minutes and it's gone. Gone. It's crazy.
I'm very excited. Thank you so much for talking with me. But before we wrap up, I want to change the topic. I know this is a bit off topic, but I'd like to talk about Anti-Diva School of Charm.
Okay.
So
it's my passion project. So
if you have been following me on social media on X, or if you listen to the podcast, you've heard me say that my parents sent me to debutante school and my two sisters from age 15 to 16, and a very stern French woman taught us how to be ladies. I hated it at the time. However, I'm a middle-class kid from Queens, New York. And later, as a corporate executive, I found myself among the wealthy and connected.
Oh, yes, you did.
But I was very confident in myself and meeting new people from all walks of life because I was a debutante. So talk to us about Auntie Diva's School of Charm, because I highly recommend that every parent, aunt, uncle, best
grandmother, grandfather, you got it.
This book.
Well, thank you. I'd love to send you one, by the way. Yeah. So afterwards we'll connect and I'll send you one with my pleasure. So this is crazy. I published it 3 years ago, but it took me 10 years to write it because I kept changing things and it kept evolving. So Auntie Diva's School of Charm is basically a meld of my mother and myself. We're Auntie Diva. And then my best friend who passed is Miss Hazel. And this is teaching 7 to 12-year-olds confidence, grace, etiquette, responsibility, and giving back to your community, because these young ladies do a passion project every year. And so this is going to be a series, and I've started writing my second one. So the first one is called Forever Friends, because they befriend a young girl who is on the street and is surviving on the street, which is a lot. There's too many of these children on the street. And especially now with all of the trafficking, it's just a huge thing for me right now. So she's a woman who is kind of like me, and she's sassy, and she has a little bit of magic intuition. And she has these 6 young women that she mentors. They go to high school, and then they come back and they learn all of these important things. I mean, even how to walk into a room, how to sit down, how to answer a telephone. Because like you, my mother was British, okay? So we better know our stuff. And we would sit down at age 5 and we could be in a room and a dining room with anybody and eating properly and speaking properly. And like you, I traveled the world and I was thrown into all sorts of situations, and I'm totally confident because I know how to use a knife and fork. I know how to have a conversation with people. I can hold a table conversation and direct it, because that is just something that if you're going to be like someone like you that's a CEO in front of people from all over the world, you better know it, because they can tell you in a half a second if you do. And you don't even have an accent from Queens. That's interesting.
I worked very hard to lose it, and I live in the Midwest now, but I've lived all over the world. So I worked very hard to lose my accent from Queens, but I would talk like this if
right.
If like
you're
this.
Back there in a half a second. Yeah, absolutely.
I worked very hard at that.
Yeah, no. So you can find it on Amazon, on barnesandnoble.com, and Walmart. And I'm working on my second one. And my second one is going to be about bullying, because that's something near and dear. And then the girls are going to travel with Auntie Diva all over the world to learn other people's cultures.
This is incredible. You know, I often look at professional athletes, and there's a news story that someone blew all their money or they blew up their lives. And one of the reasons I believe is because they're thrown into a different socioeconomic world, prepared for it.
There's interesting, because I have a very dear friend in Texas he's a financial planner, and he does some really cool stuff with taxes that I don't even understand, because I just, one thing I can't wrap my head around. I know how to spend money. I'm not really good at saving it, but I'm working on it. And so he says he works with a lot of football players, because like you said, they're thrown into this, they're making millions of dollars, and they come from a demographics that's basically their mothers probably work 2 and 3 jobs. And now they're taking care of their families. So they're buying everybody a lot of stuff. And then what happens? They get injured. So guess what? They're not getting that money anymore. Have they planned for that? Probably not. So yes, absolutely. So, and I've been asked to write a book for boys too. So that'll come.
That's much needed.
Yeah, it is much needed. And so it's so funny because I was just at a seminar called Brain Camp. A dear friend of mine has a 5-year-old who is more like a 20-year-old. And I always travel with a book because I always end up giving it to somebody. And I gave it to that little girl named Harmony. And he's going to sit, and I said, have a tea party with your daughter and read a chapter.
That's beautiful. But although my parents were middle class, I think we lived in a middle class neighborhood, but kind of had upper middle income money.
Sure.
And they took us to a lot of fancy
Same here.
events and places. And at 5 years old, my parents expected me to go to a restaurant with a white linen tablecloth and a maitre d' and be able to order for myself and sit like a lady and bring my fork up to my mouth. And that was even before becoming a debutante. It was just expected. And so I really love the idea of passing this on to the younger generation. And I'm going to do a special social media post just on this one topic. And
Great. I can't wait to read it. I'm so happy you brought that up because it's something that I have to marinate on something for a long time before I sit down and write it. And that's why it took me 10 years to write this first one and I felt the world wasn't ready for it yet. So 3 years ago, it came out, and because I thought the world was ready for it. And most of my people have been adults that read it. It's so funny. And book clubs are reading it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's just a great honor that I can pass down my mom's legacy, what she taught me. We've been in the theater. I'm 4th generation. And so I grew up in a theater home, and she had a theater school. So on Saturday mornings, we went to etiquette with my mom's best friend, Auntie Jean. And then when we graduated, we went to a restaurant that had the white tablecloth, and we all got dressed up and we had gloves on. I mean, it was the 70s, 60s. So, we had the gloves and the patent leather shoes, and we sat like little ladies. And what I see now at dining room tables, I see the whole family doing this.
Yes.
I mean, I was at Disneyland a couple of years ago, and there was a family of 4. They weren't sitting talking about their great day at Disneyland. They were all doing this. And I'm like, what is happening? This is crazy. That's why kids can't communicate, because they're just in their phone or their iPads. I see babies sticking with iPads. I'm like, what is happening, man? This is just something that's not acceptable. And then they wonder why kids can't communicate with each other, why there's so much angst at school and bullying, because they don't know how to talk to each other.
Right. And I have so many friends who are either going to a wedding, then maybe they're part of the wedding party, or it's their wedding, and then they call me for etiquette tips. So
can I tell you, the big rising thing right now is people in the workplace going to etiquette classes, adults going to etiquette classes because they don't know how to sit at a table and have a conversation they don't know how to eat properly.
Right.
It's a big thing.
Well, it's been such a pleasure talking with you, Danielle.
Thank you.
All of your links in the show description.
Thank you.
Until next time, friends, I'm Antoinette Lee, your wellness warrior here at the New Normal Big Life podcast. I hope one day to see you on the river, in the backcountry, or in the horse barn living your best life. Tag New Normal Big Life or NNBL blog. Give us a follow on X so we can celebrate your good health and big life. If you're a visual learner, you could watch an informative and entertaining version of this video on YouTube at New Normal Big Life, or listen wherever you get your podcasts. Share this effort with someone who needs it, or comment on our posts and drop us a message or email. Nothing personal or too specific. When you have a health or adventure sports topic you want us to cover, and support others in this community.
World events are constantly teaching everyone some very painful lessons. Without warning, everything we take for granted can suddenly fail. And if you're not prepared in advance, you really don't have a chance. The fact is, the modern world runs on a just-in-time supply schedule. Even the biggest grocery stores can carry only enough food for a few days' worth of normal shopping. So when disaster strikes and chaos ensues at your local stores, the odds are simply against you. If you don't have emergency food and gear stockpiled in advance, you will probably suffer. My partner Ready Hour is here to help you ahead of time. Ready Hour has a long history of providing calorie-rich, reliable, and delicious nourishment for life's unexpected situations, and critical emergency gear too. They're part of a family of companies that have served millions of people like you for decades. My family and I use Ready Hour products for camping, mountaineering, and disaster preparedness for 5 years now. They're not just reliable, they're also your affordable option too. Long-term survival food shouldn't break the bank. That's why they have great sales and payment options for you. It's your bridge to safety and survival when things just aren't normal anymore. So make your next decision your smartest decision. Be ready for tomorrow, today. Trust Ready Hour. Ready to shop? Use my affiliate link in the show description. Since 2012, the Health Ranger store has been answering your calls for a trustworthy, responsive, and affordable source of health-focused products. Built from scratch with its own US-based fulfillment center and dedicated in-house customer support, they've got you covered. From nutritional supplements and superfoods to storable foods and preparedness gear, they offer competitive prices on top-quality, lab-tested items. I'm excited to partner with the Health Ranger store to bring you the purest, most reliable products out there. Ready to shop? Use my affiliate link to get started.